Hey everybody. Okay, so I wanted to give this update to my previous video and just with an update of everything that's going on with the upcoming changes to Facebook Messenger and chatbots. So the big date to keep in mind is June 30th. So what's happening on June 30th? Well, if you've been in the bot space for the last 6 months, you will have known about the subscription messaging approval process. So, what this means and what is happening is you have to apply with your page to be able to send subscription messaging, which is non promotional messages. Currently, what we have been doing is it's been at the app level. So, ManyChat is able to send subscription messaging on our behalf by when you go to a broadcast and you choose subscription messaging. So that is when the date is going to be that we need to be adding those tags, subscription messaging tags, to the messages through broadcasts. And it's only broadcast only. Sequence messages currently you do not have to add tags to. So let me back up a little bit with what else is going on. So your page can be put into two categories. One is subscription messaging, but there's also standard messaging. So subscription messaging, to get that approval, you have to submit to Facebook that your page's messages can fall under three categories, one of three categories: news, productivity, or personal trackers. Now, it doesn't mean that you, like for news, that you have to be like a local news station or anything like that. If you, like, let's say you have a page that you talk about nutrition and let's say the keto diet, right? So if you send out news and updates about the ketogenic diet, that can suffice as news. You just have to put in the description how it falls under news, and then you also have to give 2 or 3 examples of messages that your page would send as being non-promotional. So that's subscription. Now the thing is too, when you submit your page, you might get denied, but it's not the end of the world. You just need to modify the submission and redo it and then resubmit it. I have a client for one of my pages, and with her bot, I submitted it initially and I referenced a formula that she talks about in her messages. And the formula is totally free, but Facebook doesn't know the context of it necessarily because I'm not sending them through the bot. And it got denied, and they said, I was able to click on a link to tell me why the bot was denied for subscription messaging, and that was why. So it's like, okay. So I changed up the messages that I submitted and didn't submit one with the formula in that message. So that's subscription messaging, that you can have non-promotional messages sent from your page at any time, and then it's business as usual. And what I'm saying with that is, or what I mean by that is, then once somebody engages with that subscription message, then you can send a promotional message within the 24+1 rule. And if you don't know what that is, pretty much what that means is you have 24 hours after somebody interacts with your bot message where they click a button that sends another message. It can't be a link. You can't put a button with a link and expect if they click it to count as engagement. That's not the same. It has to be a button that sends another message. So as long as they interact with your bot and they send you a message, then you can send a promotional message right away, or another one a couple hours later. You have 24 hours to do that. Now you also have a +1, which is an additional message that is outside of that 24 hours. So if you want to send a reminder message for, let's say you have a restaurant client that then you send a coupon to their users, well then you can send a reminder message. If you give them a week to use the coupon, you can send a message 3 days later. That is a reminder message to come in and use the coupon. So that is promotional. But you can, with subscription messaging, send non-promotional messages pretty much at any time. So that's that section. Now let's go over to the other pillar, which is standard messaging. So standard messaging is a little bit different. And really, if your page falls under standard messaging, then I suggest not even going through trying to get subscription messaging approval. Because if you don't have to do that, why waste that time, especially if you get denied or whatever, or if you have issues trying to get approved. So standard messaging, you do have 17 tags currently. And when I say tags, these are those Facebook Messenger tags. They're not ManyChat tags that you use to segment your audience. These are actually like developer tags, which don't freak out. You can't see them right now in ManyChat. That will be a functionality by the deadline of June 30th that we will, with Broadcast, be able to add those tags to our messages, our broadcast messages. So standard messaging has 17 non-promotional tags, and they're all listed in the Facebook for Developers website, and they've been there since last fall, maybe last summer even, that they've listed. Now, if you've been around in the community a lot or for a while, I did do a video about trying to get a lot of us to suggest the same similar tags that would help our businesses. Now, it doesn't look like they've added any of those, so maybe we need to do a round 2 of suggestions of tags. But currently there are 17, so hopefully maybe they will start adding some more once they realize that businesses utilize non-promotional messages in other ways besides just these 17. So I will make sure I post a link to those tags so you can check them out and go through them and see if there's any of them that you can use for your non-promotional messages. That will be a consistent thing where you don't need subscription messaging because, again, you can save time not having to apply. So that's the big change that is coming June 30th. So what do we need to do? Well, before June 30th, apply for subscription messaging if your page falls under those 3 categories. And or if they don't, your messages, your non-promotional messages don't fall under one of the 17 standard messages tags. The other thing I highly suggest is going through, if you have ongoing sequences that you currently utilize, go through those and try and make them more engaging, especially like, let's say you send a message as a sequence like every 3 days or something like that. Make sure that it's engaging, so then that way more people are clicking buttons and are becoming engaged with your bot. So that will help to extend the 24 plus 1, right? That you will get an additional plus 1. The other thing is go through your list, send out a broadcast, see if people are still interested. So the days of having these huge subscriber lists are, it's not such a big cool thing anymore, because depending on your list, if you have a lot of subscribers that are dormant, that really aren't there to help you out, or are interested in your business anymore, you might as well get rid of them, right? Because if you do want to do the next step, which would be potentially sending a sponsored message, you're potentially wasting money sending messages to people that really aren't interested in your business. So that is the 3 things that I suggest that you do before June 30th. And after June 30th, well, we'll have, before June 30th, we'll have the tagging abilities with broadcasts. So you should be able to know ahead of time of how to do that. But after June 30th, make sure that your non-promotional messages, if you get subscription messaging approval, that you are sending that they're non-promotional, right? And then get them to engage. Now, if you want to, you can send sponsored messages. And that's the next thing is ManyChat is actually going to be bringing in-house on their platform the ability to set up and send sponsored messages from within the platform itself, which is great news because currently if you try and do it through the ads manager, it will send it to all of your messenger connections. So people who have unsubscribed from your bot, Facebook doesn't know that because they don't track unsubscribes from ManyChat. They just know how many people have messaged your page in the past. So if you're currently setting up a sponsored message and you send it out thinking you're just going to send it out to your ManyChat subscribers, well, people who have previously unsubscribed will also get that message and most likely will not be happy. And so that brings me to my final point, is to also be making sure that you're checking your block rate, that your spam rate is low. And if you don't know how to do that or where you find that at, if you go to your Facebook page and you go to Insights and then you go to Messages, then you can see what your block rate is. Now, there's not a black and white number that Facebook, or a ceiling that Facebook puts up of saying, you have to stay under this amount, but it's around 3 to 4%. If you keep it under that, then you should be golden. I have seen a page get up to 6% and they still didn't have any issues. I'm sure that is walking on thin ice, but the lower that you can have it, the better. And so people ask me, okay, how do I reduce my blocked rate? How do I reduce this rate if it keeps, increasing, or if it's consistently, how do I reduce that? Well, there's two things you can do. One thing, always, always, always include an unsubscribe option for people, especially with broadcasts, but even with sequences. If you're getting a lot of people blocking your bot to Facebook, that is a red flag to Facebook, that they're going to start checking out your bot and seeing what you're sending people that's causing people to mark it as spam. So if you allow people to unsubscribe, they're not going to block your bot. They're going to get the result that they want, which is no more messages, without necessarily Facebook having to get involved in that. The second thing is making sure that your messages are super relevant to your subscribers that you're sending the messages to. Because if you're sending messages to people that they're not interested in that message, maybe even they have purchased, like let's say you're selling something and they've previously purchased, but you didn't take the time to segment those people out, they're going to get annoyed, right? Because it's like they've already purchased, so why are they getting this message again? So making sure that your messages are super relevant to people, and giving them that option to unsubscribe will help to reduce that spam rate. So also, last point, I guess, is another point, is with the fact that you can send sponsored messages, that you can send non-promotional messages within at any time, or that you can send multiple promotional messages within that initial 24 hours. That doesn't mean that you should. Making sure that the messages are quality over quantity will help to reduce that spam rate as well. So myself, I think that this is great news. We just roll with the punches with what Facebook suggests and decides to make differences on their platform. One other big thing, make sure that in your bot you're asking for people's email and or their SMS number. So then that way you can reach them on other platforms and get them to re-engage into your bot as well. So it's not the end of the world. It's actually great because great marketers, they pivot. Other ones, they just complain and they just fade away. So this is a great litmus test for those of us who are in it for the long haul, that know that Messenger is just going to continue to be an awesome platform to promote on, because we understand the engagement and we understand the huge click-through rate possibilities with Messenger. And we want to keep it that way, right? We do not want Messenger to go in the way of email, and how, you receive 150 emails a day and you just go and bulk delete all of them. We do not want that for Messenger. So we all need to make sure we do our best to keep the platform as the best as we can, and make sure that the message that we send are relevant and timely, and that people want that. And if not, get them off your list, or let them get themselves off their list. So anyways, I hope this has been really helpful. If there's any other news, I will definitely let you guys know. I just know that a lot of people have, wondered what's been going on. So that's the latest. So I hope you guys can continue to make bots that are awesome. Thanks.